Our next comedian, I saw them perform at an open mic, and I literally died laughing. They're so funny. I cannot wait. Jesus Bettawork.
Nitrate activates. Like the radium, the only difference is I transmit sound.
The fist means something different tonight. Thank you so much, Aaliyah and Mac, for having this fabulous Queer AF here at Covert Cafe. Good Lord. Thank you so much also to the fabulous DJ, wherever they are. Thank you. That's some great beats you got going there. Make it clap. Just kidding, it's a joke. My name is Jesus Bettawork. My pronouns, I think, is important to point out. You know, it doesn't matter what type of show it is, but my pronouns are he. Tonight, of course, though, since this is the kink edition of Queer AF, they are he, ho, him. Well, we'll see. I was so thankful to be a part of tonight's show, but I did let, Aaliyah and Mac know, I'm like, I'm not really like kink. So they said that I could be your vanilla comic for tonight. Hey, just because, thank you so much. I consent to that. Well, just because it's vanilla doesn't mean I can't make some Neapolitan later, okay? So. But I will say what, I think I'm thinking the reason why maybe I'm not, organically into, the things that are manifested when it's in the context of kink is because, I was raised a little more conservatively and culturally. I'm from a Mexican household. But I think it's more so like the fact that, whatever household I was in growing up, it was in the kitchen, because kink is considered to be unconventional versus quote-unquote normal sex, right? And the ovens we always used were conventional, so I'm like, maybe that's what it was, We needed an unconventional oven. Or maybe I attended too many conventions as opposed to unconventions. I think that's really what it was. But I'm actually from the Bay Area, San Francisco more specifically. Thank you. You don't get that too often in Portland, but I've been living in Portland now for about a year and a half, and it goes wonderful. I've discovered that Jesus is actually pronounced Jose here, so. They got the ho part right. Jose what? But what's great about it is that, for tonight's theme, San Francisco, like Portland, is, in terms of sexuality, is super open-minded. And I think that helped me very much in my formative years, because I'm only in my 20s. It's not a receding hairline, it's the lighting here at Covert Cafe. But we have things like, in San Francisco, there's every last Sunday of September, we have the San Francisco Folsom Street Fair in the South of Market neighborhood. And yes, it's wonderful. Okay. And of course, that's when the wonderful, like the Kink Community, leather, all those communities come together. And actually, side note, got kicked out of the Folsom Street for 1 year because I'm vegan and I wear pleather, and I'm like, but this is the best kind of pleather there is. I don't understand. But it's wonderful, of course, everything, for those of you that have been, that it's an outdoor event, and, all the different types of manifestations of kink are on display, but it's much more than that. You have, of course, many booths that serve education and are educating people, and you know who the tourists are because they're the only ones that are purchasing keychains that are fists. But it's a wonderful, wonderful time. But what I really appreciate about, the communities like the Kink Community is that at the core of it all are things that are put into practice and are really emphasized, which are like consent, transparency, very strong communication. Of course, depending on the role that you're in kink, there's power is a big one also, but everyone has power that are involved in the context of kink, and it's about people's pleasure. So it's so wonderful. But my closest, experience with kink was with this one guy that I had, hooked up with several times, and I forgot where he was from, but he's, he talked like this. I forgot where he was from, but very, open sexually and so forth. And at one point, he called me and he's like, I have a friend that I think that I'm not gonna continue doing his accent, but. But he said that, he had a friend and he thought that the three of us would have a good time together. And, I kind of got nervous, but I love sitcoms, and I just finished watching a marathon of Three's Company. I'm like, this is a sign. I have to go through with it. I gotta be the Latina Chrissy. So, I was open to it, and his friend, coincidentally, he's Latino, but he's not from the States, so, he talked like this. He's like, oh, very nice to meet you, and I was like, oh, gracias. I'm like, so if you do role play tonight, then I know for sure I'm gonna be playing Rosetta Stone, okay? And we're gonna have a great time. Nos vamos a divertir a lo máximo, eh? But, it's actually going good, like the three of us are there, and, we're all like, open, like, communications, everyone's doing okay. I'm like, kind of shaking a little bit. But then at one point, the friend, he gets on all fours, and they both kind of look in my direction, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm just gonna audit this part of the class here, actually. I let them know. I was just gonna kind of watch. I'm a voyeur. That's what I am. That was the role. And then I see the guy that I had hooked up with several times already, he got down on his knees, and I was like, oh, maybe he's hungry. I don't know. But then I saw him, and this was when, many, many years ago, I saw him, look from behind at the guy's, like, anal area, and then he got his hand and he started kind of like going like this a little bit. And, initially, almost immediately, I didn't know immediately what exactly that meant. But my intuition was to get my hand too, and be like, please let me know what you're about to do. But before I knew it, it was all consensual, but before I knew it, he was going in, and just going like this, and at one point I saw the guy who was getting fisted, is what was happening. The guy, that was getting fisted, I saw his head kind of going like, and I was like, oh, I wonder what Beyonce song he's listening to right now. This is around the time that she had, gone solo. So, if Alexa was around at that time, it would have been, Alexa, what Beyonce song goes great with fisting? But then I knew shortly thereafter, actually, that because, as he's rolling his head, I hear, oh, I have to use the restroom. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, somebody help him. But the guy, he was like, he kind of kept going. He was like, relax. And but as he sees that he's ready, I know I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I had to do it one more time. I could tell he was gonna pull out his hand, and at that point I took a little step back because I was close enough, because I was like, I listen to TLC and I will not go chasing waterfalls. So I took a step back, and and fortunately nothing dramatic like that happened, and all I heard was a, and the guy poor guy excused himself, so he was very polite, and was in the restroom for what seemed like a Calvin Klein eternity. So that was the closest my God, I thought that was pee on me. Too bad it wasn't, but that was my closest scene. That was my, the vanilla comic of tonight's version. So thank you all so much for being a fabulous audience. If I ever see any of you out and about, I'll treat you some vanilla ice cream, and, together we can make that Neapolitan. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, one more time for Jesus Bettawork! Woo! Yes, it is all math.